Okay, today we are talking about bird feeders and how to get started feeding the birds if it's your first time, because there are so many options of bird feeders and so many options to seed. Let's talk about it. All right, first of all, most people can get pretty intimidated on where to start with bird feeding. And there is some things that are cosmetic, and then there are some things that are purely functional, and you want to think it through. So first of all, you need to be thinking about what kind of birds you want to attract. If you're just like most of us, when we're just starting out, we're typically looking for just the biggest selection of birds. We don't really care the make or model. We just want to see some birds feeding in the backyard. Winter is here, days are short. It's a great way to pass the time. But one of the things with the feeders, I say, is to just stick with an all-purpose mix. There are some fundamental differences with the birds, with the bird feeders, the way they like to eat. Some like to be on a perch, some like to be on a little stand, some just want to grab right onto a mesh on the side. So let's take a peek at a couple options that make the biggest selection and how to determine what seed goes in what feeders. So let's start with the feeders themselves. Okay, so this is a couple classic styles of bird feeders. This is what we refer to as a tube feeder. They come in varying sizes, from small ones to much bigger ones, to the heavy duty ones that handle a whole lot of seed. But they're broken up into two different categories. And to distinguish the difference, we almost look at the seed. Everybody knows what sunflower seed is. We like them for snacks, so do the birds. So every bird seed mix tends to have a lot of bird seed, have a lot of sunflower seed in the back. And if you're really trying to target birds, most good bird seeds will give you a little chart that says what's the biggest selection that you're gonna get. And you can see when it starts with black old bird seed, every single one of these birds is pretty much checked off. The difference is sunflower seed is a big seed, so it needs what we refer to as a sunflower seeder. What that basically means is that this feeder can handle any of the mixture of seeds. So that you can see when looking at this one, there's lots of different seeds in the mix, but it can handle the large seed of a sunflower, which is typically in the mix. Now, the alternative is thistle. Thistle is a very tiny seed. Most of us use them to attract the finch if we're really trying to target those small birds. And if you can see in there, it's a tiny, tiny seed. So you need what we refer to as a thistle feeder. And so they're same tube style, but the opening has little tiny holes. That just stops that thistle seed from spewing out all over the ground. So it doesn't matter when you're looking at a feeder. Determine what you want to look at, how much seed you want to hold, and at the same time, you need to figure out the opening style. That is the biggest hurdle. What I recommend are these mixture seeds. When you're dealing with the sunflower mixes, you're going to get the biggest selection of birds. And then from there, it's all in the price point quality. You'll have smaller plastic feeders, you'll have bigger big metal feeders like these squirrel busters. They're almost indestructible. They protect against the birds, but at the same time, this is for the real enthusiasts that wants to make sure that the seed goes, and probably a more advanced feeder when you know you have a good following. But let's take a look at some of the other seeds. Okay, so you can see the majority of bird seed we have are almost all some version of a sunflower seed. So when you're first starting out, you don't have to spend a lot of money. And I don't even recommend jumping to the big bags, the 40-pound, 50-pound bags right off the bat. Just get a modest sized bag, but opt for one of the better quality mixes. And what we mean by that is, see this white seed right here? This is called millet. It is what's inside most of the economical mixes. Lots of customers like them, but in my experience, the birds really want the sunflower. They want the big meaty seed. Most of them do not want to be kicking through these small seeds. But it's a lower price point. It feels better when we're purchasing it. But in my experience, the birds are getting in there and they're kicking all this aside in order to get to your sunflower. So I recommend sticking with something that is a mixture seed. So that way we're attracting the widest selection of birds. and deal with something that's heavy in the sunflower, because you're going to pay a little bit more for it, but you're going to waste a fraction of the seed. And then the key is to keep the seed fresh. In my experience, if you have a good bird feeder and you have a nice mixture of seed, the fastest way to get the bird's attention is to spread the seed around. What I mean by that, you don't have to fill the feeders all the way to the top right off the bat. The key is not to let the seed sit around too long. You don't want it to get mildew if we're getting a lot of rain. So fill the seed sometimes even halfway up on the feeder, but then I'll sprinkle some around the ground. The birds are always on the hunt looking for seed. So my personal experience is if I can pile it up, if I have a stone wall near the bird feeders, I'll sprinkle it right across the ground around the base of the feeder. If I have a mulch bed right near the bird feeder, I'll sprinkle that seed right in there. That way you're just trying to get their attention. It becomes much easier when we have snow because they have to hunt a lot more for that seed. But the key is just keep it fresh, spread some seed around. You don't want to do that all the time because you will attract rodents. And so just at the beginning when I'm trying to get their attention, get the feeders out there. If I have a big feeder that can hold 10 pounds of seed, I don't fill that thing right up off the bat. Just get it halfway up, spread the seed around, get a following, get that bird seed starting to get consumed. Then once you have a good following and you know you're filling that feeder once a week, maybe a couple times a week, then you can fill them right up to the top and know your seed's not going to go bad. So that's it. Get a good feeder, get the right seed, get a good sunflower mix, spread the seed around a little. Hope that helps. Take care.